Okay, so Bobbie Dazzle, uh,
Hi.
we have a surprise, a double single release, followed by an album release, followed by some very impressive tour dates coming up in the next couple of months. Everything's been pretty quick for Bobbie Dazzle, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it just keeps going.
I'm doing little bit of research and so forth. I'm aware you were with another band that we have actually covered on our website in the past as well, Aluna.
Yeah, was with them for 7 years. Yeah.
Yeah, which is quite a long time to be with a band, and they obviously their trappings are not dissimilar to Bobbie Dazzle going forwards either, with the 70s influence and so forth.
Well, that was my influence on that. Yeah, it's all me.
We can totally believe that. You look very influential. Where does all this influence from the 70s come from? Because to look at you, I'm assuming you weren't alive during the 70s when old people like me
Yeah,
were.
yeah, I was born in 1972. I just use a really good skin cream.
Look it up. I'm genuinely impressed. I had no idea how old you were. I'll be perfectly honest.
Oh, I'm joking. I'm joking. So
No,
I'd be in my 60s. Though it's my parents. My parents, they grew up in the 70s. They loved 70s music and it had that influence on me. So like my childhood was growing up listening to what they grew up with. And so yeah, I just carried on with loving it because I believe that the best music came out at that time.
I'll be honest. I was born in 73, so 1 year behind yourself. My skin cream isn't as good. Um, I would actually argue the 80s was slightly better, but you wouldn't have had the 80s if it wasn't for the 70s, to be fair.
This is true. This is true.
And you look at the number of bands that were formed and massive in the 70s that are still going today is actually quite impressive. Um, Name me a couple of your favorites. Who would you say, not necessarily most influential, but the ones that you would turn to? If you're just going to sit down and chuck a couple of albums on, which ones would you go with?
Yeah, so I listen to Kate Bush quite often. I love her, even up until her more modern stuff. And then other acts like Sweet, which are obviously big glam rock staple, but they had the heavier side of it. Um, Bowie, I'm gonna name all of the glam rock stuff because it's what I love to listen to. Got T-Rex, Mud, Slade, so all of that stuff, and then the heavier things like Sabbath. Obviously, I'm also from Birmingham, so
Yeah.
they're like in my heart always.
Um, yeah, I was going to say the thing with the glam rock is it's not just the music. There's so much more to it than that. Bowie you mentioned as well. I mean that Bowie was unique. There was nobody like him. You look around a lot of the more the bands like your Slades and your Sweets, and there's an element of like similarity there with the dress, whatever. But Bowie was just every album was a concept album. Every album was different. What do you think was it about him that made him the way he was?
I think he was a man that just constantly wanted to evolve. He wasn't in a box, and he genuinely just did whatever he wanted to do. So he was just like so honest to himself when it came to creating, because as someone who is a musician, 10 years ago, I wasn't doing the music that I'm doing now. And probably in another 10 years, maybe I'll want to change. And that is being honest with yourself. If you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And I see bands that change their sound and it really annoys the fans.
Yeah.
But it becomes stagnant as a musician to do the same thing over and over and over again. So Bo was just honest with himself and he just wanted to do what he wanted to do. And because he was so talented, he did manage to keep fans. But I know from his 70s to 80s change, a lot of people were pissed off.
Absolutely. And you're going to end up, one of the benefits he's got is he went through a period of time when bands or artists were releasing an album every 8 to 12 months, which doesn't quite so much happen anymore. So you have that chance to have 2 or 3 albums that people like, and then another 2 or 3 albums that people like. And that's really tricky these days. As you said, fans get pissed off. You get a bunch of fans who are like, oh, this is just the same stuff again. And another bunch of fans going, this is too different. It's like a festival lineup. You can't please anybody.
Exactly. You can never win. When you make music, you can never really win if you're trying to do it for other people. You have to do it for yourself.
Mhm. I've heard that from so many artists as well. I was chatting to a chap, his name's gone up my head. What was it called? Sorry, Riz Story last weekend, who does a lot of prog music, and his stuff is very niche. But the people who like it really, really like it. And his last album was never meant to be released. It was purely music just for himself, and somebody else convinced him to release it. So yeah, 100%. Write it for yourself. Don't write it for anybody else, because at least then somebody's going to like it.
Definitely. There will always be people that enjoy it. It's just finding those people. And when you've already put yourself in, I guess, a box, it's hard to necessarily keep the fans if you change so drastically. But if that's what you want to do, then do it. I mean, sometimes people release things under a different name or they'll start a new band and they'll do it that way. But Bowie was just like, nah, I'm just me.
To be fair, he had to release it under about 25 different names over the years if he was going to do that.
Exactly.
So how did the Bobbie Dazzle thing come about? Like I said, we know it's fairly new. Where did the idea come from? I'm assuming we're looking at alter ego kind of things, like Bowie kind of did throughout his career. So where's that idea come from? Did you pinch it from Bowie? There's
So the whole point of Bobbie Dazzle for me was an homage to 1970s glam rock. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just trying to bring back something that seems to have been forgotten in modern day music. And having, calling myself Bobbie Dazzle is my kind of like rock star pseudonym, just like Ziggy Stardust was. So yeah, obviously a massive influence. And there's other artists during that time like Gary Glitter, but yeah, but they did the same thing. We won't talk about him. But yeah, they did the same thing. And for me, glam rock music is really joyful. There's a kind of innocence to it. It puts a smile on your face. It gets you moving. And we all know, and a lot of people love glam rock tunes, but for some reason, just now, there's not really much of a market for it. I mean, it's not really on the radio, it's not really in festivals and stuff. You've got the odd band, and then you've got some bands that obviously aren't around to play anymore. So yeah, I just feel like there's kind of a hole in the market, and I really wanted to bring that back. And I was going through a tough time back in 2023, and I wanted to create music that was going to make me feel good. And I always listened to glam rock when I'm down, and it just really takes me out of that. And they say, music is medicine. So I wanted to be able to give that to other people, but I was also doing it for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're saying there's not many like glam rocky bands out there that are doing that sort of thing. I mean, I'm sure there are some, and I'll be honest, the amount of music we get through, the only bands two that jump to my mind that are modern day doing that kind of music, the Night Flight Orchestra, and probably Royal Republic, and they're kind of borderline for that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't really, personally, I wouldn't really class them as that. They're more, it's got that like 70s rock and roll vibe thing. But the glam rock actual, there's like staples to glam rock. There's people like Elton John and Queen and stuff, you've got that side of it. And then you've got the more kind of androgynous side, like Mark Bolan was, like Bowie was. So it's quite a widespread,
yeah,
style. But yeah, modern day, I think the closest kind of thing we have of a really successful band like that were The Darkness, although they've also changed their sound now.
yeah.
There's a guy called Spencer Sutherland who is doing quite well right now, but he's not really massively in the mainstream, but he is quite Queen, Elton John. But yeah, you just don't really hear it on the radio now, I suppose.
Which is a surprise given how big the bands were back then and how popular they are on like there's radio stations which play nothing but the old stuff. Why isn't people doing new versions of the old stuff? Oh wait, they are. It's you.
It's me. Well, hopefully, yeah, because you've got bands like Slade and their Christmas song is on every single year, so people know what glam rock is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just bringing it back. I'm just bringing back the joy into rock music.
But I have to say, I picked up on a couple of things straight away. Obviously, Bobbie Dazzle and the name of the album, Fandabidozi. You're not just referring back to the music here. There's a lot more popular culture kicking through there as well.
Mm.
So for those of you who weren't around in the 70s, a Bobbie Dazzler is a phrase, but it was also a catchphrase from a TV show. And Fandabidozi was the Crankies, if I remember that correctly. And these are phrases that people will remember from back then as well. So we're not looking at just the music. It was an ethos, and it was a period of history, really, wasn't it? In the same way, like you got the flower power in the 60s, and glam rock to a large extent was the 70s, alongside disco. But let's not talk about disco. Uh, Nothing wrong
But
with
it,
disco, to be fair.
it's true. You even like the fashion of the time, very heavily glam rock influenced. The bell bottoms, the bright colors, the big makeup. Even men were wearing like very feminine makeup at the time, and it was normal. It was a normal thing. It's like those dudes are hot and they're wearing lipstick, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of carried on into the 80s, but turned a bit more strangely macho. But in the 70s, yeah, everything was just quite flamboyant, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting you mentioned the makeup there. I mean, you look at bands such as like Twisted Sister, obviously, and Poison, but you wouldn't really call them glam rock bands because the music kind of, although they look, yes, but the music, no. It's an interesting transitionary period there.
Yeah, so it turned into glam metal.
Mm,
So that's what that stuff is classed as. And obviously bands like Motley Crue, there wouldn't be Motley Crue without the band Sweet. Like they were so influenced by them. So yeah, 70s glam rock turned into 80s glam metal, and all of this influence became heavier.
yeah. Can you give me just 2 seconds? I've got a surprise visitor who's just popped in. I wasn't expecting to see my daughter. Hello, I'm doing an interview with a nice lady. Oh, I've got Easter cards. Thank you very much. How you guys doing?
No, no, we'll leave you to it.
You sure?
Yeah, yeah.
Go grab a cover if you want. I won't be long.
That's nice. Happy Easter.
I'm not advertising Cadbury's twirls, but if they want to send me more for this plug, then by all means. I'm going to leave that in. Yeah, real life goes on. Um, got again another little sideways question here. I noticed you are a flautist. Flautist.
Yeah.
Which one's the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, flautist, yeah.
A flautist, and you've actually brought that into at least one or two of the tracks on Fandabidozi as well. Again, is this you just want to do something for you, or you're thinking, I want to do glam, but I want to do something different? What do I know?
So I'm also a big prog rock fan, and again, I love 70s prog, so bands like Jethro Tull and Focus. So there's a lot of flute in that stuff, and even like the deeper, like more unknown underground prog bands, there was a lot of flute in that. And that's when I wanted to pick it up after I heard all of this stuff, because I learned flute as a child, and it was very stifling and, you know, I'm told how to do it a certain way. It has to sound like this, classical, and learning all that stuff. And I found it really boring. And then when I heard Ian Anderson and he's making all of these strange sounds on the flute and standing on one leg, and it's just all a bit crazy, I'm like, that's how it can sound. And I love flute in rock music. And I've brought that into most of the music that I've made with different projects too. So yeah, I wanted to bring it in because Bobbie Dazzle is mine and I can do whatever the hell I want. You know, I've got no one telling me yes or no. So yeah, I just thought I'm gonna whack some flute wherever I want. But I think it works. And it's always a nice little surprise to people because it's like people are waiting for that guitar solo to come and it's like, actually, there's a flute solo instead.
Yeah, and that's a lesson for kids out there. People are making you learn a musical instrument. Learn it because you enjoy it, but you still need to learn the basics. I mean, even as a flautist, you'll acknowledge that that boring stuff that you went through is still necessary to get to
It
the
was
fun bit.
necessary, yeah.
Yeah, music's a journey, and I know some. I'm a teacher full time, and I've got kids at the school, and you see them coming. Some of them learn the instruments, and they're magnificent, and other ones it's the same thing, learning it because you have to learn those bits. Then you get to be Bobbie Dazzle and do what the hell you like with it.
Yeah.
Or a cello. I've seen so many cellos being involved with metal bands the last couple of years.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. There's Jo Quayle, who is an amazing cello player, and she plays with all of really heavy bands, and it sounds awesome. So really, you can learn any instrument you want, and you can integrate it in any kind of style of music.
Yeah, and folk metal's a great example as well. There's so many instruments being thrown in there, banjos and violins and penny whistles and all kinds of stuff. You can make of it what you will. As you said, write it for yourself. That's the important thing. Certainly, there was a little story that I read on your website about where you got some of the lyrics from. Lightning Fantasy had it's a lovely little story behind it. Would you mind repeating that for us?
Yeah, sure. So in 2023, I inherited some of my late father's record collection. Now, he'd passed away in 2003, so it's over 20 years ago now. And to have things of his that I'd never seen before was really amazing. So I was looking through these records. My dad was a big glam rock fan, loved the American side, New York Dolls, Iggy Pop, Lou Reed. And as I was looking through a Bob Dylan record, loads of pieces of paper fell out. And they were lyrics that my dad had written when he must have been about 16 or 17 years old, a teenager back in the 70s. And it was crazy because I'd just started doing Bobbie at the time. I was writing music, and it felt like this, you know, little gift from my dad to say, I'm proud of you. Here's some help. he let me help you on your way. And to be able to have a collaboration with me and my late father on my debut record is so special to me. I just wish that he obviously was able to hear it, but I'm really just pleased that I can involve him in this.
Fantastic. I'm just curious, has he got a writing credit on the record? Have you named him?
Yeah, yeah.
That's brilliant.
The record's actually dedicated to him, and then yeah, I mentioned that he wrote the lyrics to that. There's some other lyrics that I didn't use for that, so maybe I'll use them for album number two. Some of them aren't suitable. Because yeah, there was a song called Castrator, which I have mentioned a few times, yeah, but I can't use that for anything.
So if Bobbie Dazzle ever does a death metal album, maybe.
Yeah, that'll be on it.
Um, the exciting thing coming up, you've got two live dates coming up. It's July, if I recall correctly. It says about look the calendar, and you're supporting some. It's a female artist, I think, Alice somebody. It's Alice
Yeah.
Cooper. For crying out loud, you're supporting Alice Cooper. How
I
did that happen? How did you find out? How did it feel?
I got asked to do it, which
Wow.
is insane. I had a phone call saying, "Would you be interested?" I was like, "Is this a joke?" But no, it was real. I couldn't announce it for a really long time, and it was just so like I was on the edge of my seat, just waiting for the date that I could. And yeah, it's out there now. So I'm the only support for his two UK dates in yeah, his two headline dates in the UK for 2025, which is Cardiff on July 22nd and Edinburgh on July 23rd.
Yep. So I'm aiming to be at the Edinburgh date.
Amazing.
I'm definitely. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you there. So me and Alice is playing. He's got a co-headliner with Judas Priest in London, and then the two important dates, obviously, are the ones down in Cardiff and up in Edinburgh for those two. So I'm assuming tickets may still be available. I wouldn't be surprised if they're sold out already because they are small shows for Alice. He normally plays the arena dates.
Yeah.
So
Cardiff still has a few tickets left, but I don't think they'll last too long.
no, in Edinburgh's the Playhouse, and I think the last time Alice played there was about 20 years ago. It's
Uh,
been a long time. So I'm definitely looking forward to that one. So going back to the 70s now, we talked about the music, we're giving you a chance to plug. What I want to do is find out how much you actually know about the 70s. So I've got three trivia questions, and they are related to music. So they should be
okay.
right in your ballpark. So, and I'm not picking on you. I do this with everybody I interview. I just happen to like trivia. So,
I'm scared.
okay, I think these are moderately easy. Okay.
Okay.
So there's only three of them. So, first one, Jimmy Page, who I'm sure you're aware of, joined Led Zeppelin. From which other band? So which band was he in previous to that?
Genuinely wouldn't know. I'm not. I love what I've heard of Led Zeppelin, but I've never done some like big deep dive on them.
Fair enough. He was originally in the Yardbirds.
Oh, okay, yeah. But I know who they are.
Yeah, which and apparently I was doing a bit of reading and some stuff, background stuff I didn't know. The band basically collapsed, as usual. Everybody didn't like each other, and then from there arose Led Zeppelin.
By the way, I'm going to probably fail all of these because I just don't do this. I listen to music. I don't like research about the artists that much.
If it makes you feel any better, I had to research the questions, so
There you go.
I didn't mind it. So it's a chance to learn. Let's do it that way.
Yes.
This one you might know because it's just about an album. Which 70s band released the album Demons and Wizards?
Don't
Uriah
know.
Heep?
Don't know.
No, so it was Uriah Heep. A band who, funnily enough, we were talking about Judas Priest. They opened for Priest on the last tour as well, and amazingly are still going to this day, and were phenomenal. Year and a half ago, I think I saw one for Priest. Never seen them before. They were incredible.
I saw them live with who did I see them with? Saxon and Diamond Head, and yeah, his voice even now is incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if I recall correctly, it is only just the one founding member with the band now, isn't it? So I think
You tell me. I don't know. I don't know anything.
again, I only found this out because I did the research when I was reviewing the concert. So it's the same thing. I researched because I need to research, but it's interesting. No, but yeah, he was. I mean, the stage was just amazing, and the songs didn't sound like they were from the 70s. They sounded like they were written like a week ago. They were just so fresh. Amazing
Timeless.
live band. Um, okay, you'll probably struggle with this one as well, but hey, we get a chance to talk about another band. Which prog rock band, because you said you like prog anyway,
Mhm.
had hits with Con. My writing is terrible. My eyesight's gone. Carn Evil 9 and Lucky Man.
Oh, is that? Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
1 out of 3. There we go.
Oh, at least I got something.
See, that's the thing with trivia. Everyone says the questions are easy or they're not easy, and it's like it's trivia. If you know it, it's easy. If you don't know it, it's
Exactly.
not as simple as that. Um, yeah, Emerson, Lake and Palmer again, another massive band. Um, I want to just jump back actually to Led Zepp because we talked right back at the beginning about David Bowie and even Kate Bush changing with the
Mm,
times.
mm.
And if you want to jump in the 80s, Madonna's done the same thing. She's reinvented herself every couple of albums as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
you do. But one of the things that always got me with Led Zepp, I would never say that I'm a Led Zepp fan, but there's about 6 songs that will come on the classic rock radio, and they're all by Led Zepp, and they could be done by 6 completely different bands. And I think that's what I like about Led Zepp. It's exactly the thing we talked about earlier. It's bands writing stuff for themselves and going, huh,
Mm.
let's throw this one out there. And Zepp did it for I don't know how many albums, and was so fresh. Do you have a favorite couple of songs by them?
Um, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You is one that I really like to put on. It's very passionate. I like to sing along with that one very dramatically. And then, do you know what? Black Dog, even though it's a really obvious one, it's like as soon as that comes on, and everyone's like, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah. I would go with the Immigrant Song. I love the riff.
Yeah,
Just immediately when it comes on, dun, 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 it's like,
yeah,
yeah, that's an absolute banger. Anyway, I'm out all out of questions, including the trivia ones. It has been an absolute joy. I am so looking forward to the Edinburgh show. I mean, it's always good to see Alice Cooper live, but now we know who the support band are, and I've seen your videos, and I just thought, oh, the videos I meant to mention as well. For anyone who's not watched any of the Bobbie Dazzle videos, please go back and watch them. Dig them out on YouTube, and you will see what it was like to live in the 70s. I love the way you've got this stick thin microphones. The band look like a bunch of hippies. The fading effects as you're moving around. You can probably see this on my crappy webcam. It's like it's literally like watching Top of the Pops back in the 70s again. Wonderful to see just that the whole thing just being used, not just the music, but the whole visual thing
yeah.
as well. So one last question, actually, what are we going to get from the stage show? Have you got anything you're going to surprise us with? Is there anything you want to hint towards us, or is this going to be just a big wait and see what happens?
We do an ABBA cover. I'll leave it at that.
Oh, okay, right. I'm going to run a poll on the website and just see if people can guess what it is. Because there's only like 2 or 3 ABBA songs to pick from, really, aren't there? So that's brilliant. Sean, Bobbie, thank you so much for your time. It has been an
Okay.
absolute pleasure. I'm really looking forward to seeing the show now. I guess it's down to weeks now, really, isn't it? So
Yeah, July, not long now.
yeah, yeah. So get plenty of rehearsal time in. Definitely looking forward to it, folks. If you've not already checked it out, Fandabby the album has been out now since January, I think. So there's plenty of time to go and grab hold of a copy, stream it if that's your way of listening to music these days. Enjoy it and learn all the words for when you catch the show in Cardiff and Edinburgh. And
Yeah.
hopefully maybe some live dates as well of your own after that with any luck.
Yeah, there's lots to announce, so just everyone keep their eyes out.
Brilliant. I'm sure we will get the news through and we'll make sure we share it as well. Thank you so much again, and we'll see you in a few weeks, a couple of months.
Thank you so much. Nice to talk to you.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
This episode is copyright The Moshful Times, introductory music by Elliot Alderman Broom, and any music used throughout the episode is copyright to the original performers and creators.